welcome back to Wicked Art. It's Wicked here, and it's our Digital Wednesday. And I thought we'd do something fun today. I thought I'd show you how to actually animate in Sketchbook. So the first thing you want to do is just obviously open up Sketchbook, and you'll go up here and click File, open New Flipbook, and open a new empty flipbook. Okay, now the pixels don't really matter right now at this point in time. It's just the size of your canvas. But what is important is you have these different frame rates. If you want to kind of get like a blur effect, you can just go to 24, but you can't go all the way up to 30 frames. Number of frames, you can get a maximum of 1,000, which is pretty good. And they've kind of added a new feature I'll show you in a section, but we're just going to leave it at the base 240 because we're not going to need that much. So I'm just going to click OK, and you can see it pulls up this little timeline at the bottom, right? So these are all our keyframes and frames. Okay, we have a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. And this is cool because it used to only be a foreground and a background, but now we have this middle section. We can overlay and do stuff like that. Now I'm not going to go super duper into detail because obviously animation takes time, but we're going to do some simple stuff anyway. Okay, so if you hover down here, you can see we have an empty frame, which is what we got here. And you can duplicate your frame, and then down here it clears it out, but this one just adds a new one. So we're just going to start with this one. I'm going to go into my circle, okay, and you just want to shape that down to a basic circle, and I'm going to show you why we're going to do a bouncing ball. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to start it down here at the bottom. Well, actually, let's go up here to the top. We're just going to have it start with a drop. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw my circle. Okay, that way I still have it how I want it. And then we're just going to pick a color. We'll do blue. And we're going to go to our paint bucket, and I'm just going to fill that in. Alright, now I'm just going to turn that back off. And we're going to utilize this tool right here with the shape. So you want to make sure that it's on the entire layer. Okay, so we're going to start with this. This is going to be our first keyframe. Alright, so I'm going to now, I could sit here and draw every single keyframe, but I'm not. So I'm going to click here and duplicate it. Alright, and then if you come down here to this section, these are your kind of like little shadow boxes. So if I click on that and turn it on, I'll be able to see the next frame, right? So if I take it now and pick my selection tool, I can come down now to the next frame, right? So what we want to do is we have a hold and kind of a drift that we want to do. So it's going to come from here and it's going to kind of start slow with the drop, right? And then I'll just simply duplicate that keyframe, pick it again, and come down. But I'm going to stretch it out a little bit more. And then we want to do something that's called squash and stretch. This is going to help us build our speed. Okay. Then I can just duplicate it again, pick my selection tool, and come down. And this is what will control the speed. This is how far you separate it. And I'm going to stretch it out even more. I'm going to duplicate that frame again and continue that process down. I'm going to space it out. As gravity pulls, it's going to get a little bit farther. Okay, and then I'm going to select it again and duplicate that. And once we get to the ground here, I'm going to start getting to our hold. So I'm going to duplicate, and then what we're going to do is we're going to squash. Okay, so I'm going to shrink it back down again to a normal ball size. Put it down at the bottom in the same place. And then we want it to start squishing, like it's squishing down into a shape. Okay, so we're going to squish it down. Alright, I'm going to duplicate that frame again, and we're going to squish it down. Now, if you notice, down here, it only says 10, so it's only going to show me up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so it's going to show me up to one more. Alright, so I'm going to go and duplicate again. I'm going to give it one more squish, just to really exaggerate it like a cartoon. Okay, I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to start making it unsquish. Okay, it's going to still stay down at the bottom, but what we're doing is allowing it to start to rebound. So I'm going to duplicate again off the ground. So as it gets its shape back, we're still going to stay here and move it up just a little bit. Duplicate again. And I'm going to come up. I'm going to stretch it a little. I'm going to duplicate it again. And we're going to come up and stretch that out. Okay, we're gaining speed. So we're going to come up, stretch it out even more. And we'll come up again. And we'll stretch it out one more time. Duplicate. Then we'll come up and start squishing it back into its hold. Duplicate again. Squish it down. Let it hold right here. So we want to make sure it's staying in that same area. Duplicate. Squish. Put it more in the center here. Duplicate one more time. Make it a normal circle. And now we have our animation, right? So now if I take this and I just come down and hit play, you can see how my ball bounces up and down and goes onto a continual loop. Okay. So you can see all the trail animations that we have, and it allows your ball to bounce up and down with that nice retraction of squish and gives it kind of like a cartoony type feel, right? So that is one type of animation, all right, a simple ball bouncing animation. We're going to take the same, we're going to come in here and we're going to clear out all our old animations. Okay, so we're just going to go back until we get ourselves a ball again. And we have our last frame. Okay. Now the second type of animation we're going to do is it's going to be another ball bounce, but we're going to make it bounce across the screen. Okay. So we're going to start like it's coming out from the side here. Okay. So now that I have that keyframe in place, I'm going to duplicate that, and we're going to move it down and give it a little side stretch. Rotate it a little bit. Okay, I'm going to duplicate it again, and we're going to side stretch it, rotate it, duplicate, and come down. As you can see, it's a little repetitive, but that's okay. Give it a little bit more of a side stretch, turn it down towards the ground. Okay, I'm going to duplicate it again. And this time we're going to come down into the ground, and then as it hits, we're going to duplicate, and then obviously we're going to squish it down. Try to bring it back to a ball shape. Okay, so we want to keep it on the ground. Alright, we're going to come back, and we're going to fix it so that it's a ball again. Let's kind of rotate it this way. See, I'm having the issue with that. So here's what I'll do is we'll just clear that, right? And then I'll just add a clean keyframe. I'll bring my circle back in, switch to black, go back to my paint bucket and fill that back in. And that's just one way to do it. I can come back to my selection tool, bring it down here to the bottom. Okay, and we'll duplicate that. We still want to give it a squish as it makes contact. Duplicate it again. Squish it down. Okay, and we'll duplicate it one more time, and then we're going to start having it unsquish and move. Duplicate again, unsquish and move. Now gravity is going to start playing a role in this. So I duplicate it again. I'm going to squish it out. Let's turn it this way. So we're not going to go as high. Duplicate again. Rotate. So I'm going to come out to about here. Let's rotate a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to duplicate one more time. And as I get here, I'm going to rotate it back up. And go back. Make sure it's straight up and down. I'm going to rotate it back up. And go into a ball shape. Rotate it. See if we can get it back somewhat. There we go. Shrink that down. Okay, and then we want it to hold. So we'll do an extra frame. And it's going to start coming down. We'll duplicate. Have a little bit of a stretch. So it comes down. Duplicate. Stretch one more time. So it hits the bottom. Duplicate it. Start squishing it. Duplicate. Squish it down. Duplicate again. And we'll squish it down one more time. And one last good squish. Okay, I'm going to duplicate it. And we're just going to get ourselves to unsquish a little. Duplicate. Unsquish some more and have it kind of rise. This time we're not going to go that far. Duplicate. Let's bring it up just a little. And since we're losing some to gravity, we're going to have a very tiny stretch. Okay, I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to squish it back and have it hold. Duplicate. Start coming down again. Gravity is starting to win. Duplicate again. Squish it down. And it will start to come back up one more time. Stretch it back out. duplicate. You're gonna hear me say that word a lot. Okay, I'm gonna have it hold here. Duplicate. Leave it hold, and that will duplicate. And we'll come back down. Duplicate it one more time. And we'll just have it rest right here. Okay? So now if I come in, I can check what I have. So we want to take the entirety of the keyframe out. And you can see it's a nice gentle bounce in until it slowly just stops, right? So it just kind of bounces. And what I did was I just stretched that back to the first keyframe because it tries to just keep it sectioned off to where you had it. Okay? But again, we're using our squash and stretch. A nice little cartoony bounce. Okay, so you kind of have to apply physics to it a little bit. Obviously, I could sit here and refine it more and get it to really balance itself out. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's a basic ball bounce, like using gravity to kind of control it. Okay, so you can kind of see how we can use each keyframe to do what it is that we need it to do. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to stop that. Okay, we're going to go back to the very beginning. And we're just going to clear out all our frames. Now I can select and come down here to the second frame. Well, at least I thought that's what it would let me do. I guess not. So we're going to have to come back here and clear out all of these frames really quick. It doesn't take that long. So the next thing we're going to do, though, while I'm deleting that, we're going to do a pendulum swing. Okay, and these are just like basics of animation where you're going to get kind of like a hold and a follow through to kind of help again, it just seemed like it's got some gravity to it. Okay, so we're going to do one more animation. We're going to call it a pendulum swing. Okay, I'm going to take that ball that I have on that layer and we're just going to start here in the middle. Now we are going to add something to this. Okay, I'm going to come in, I'm going to draw a line down. So we're just going to swing that. Don't want a new keyframe, sir. We're going to switch to black. I'm just going to make the line black on there. Okay, so as straight as you can, we'll draw a line down. Alright. Actually, let's do this. We'll just use the ruler tool. Set that as straight as we can. Draw our line up. Okay. Now, we could draw each individual frame, but again, it would just be easier for this instance specifically. Hand drawing stuff, it's going to look a lot easier, more fluid. Just the basics of it, right? So I can take this layer and duplicate it. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is rotate it, keeping my pendulum where it's supposed to be in the center. Okay, I add another one. I'm going to rotate that out some more, causing a bigger swing. Let's bring it back just a little bit, but we're trying to keep right here on that center. Okay, so I'm going to pick it again. I'm going to rotate. We're going to give this a big swing. Okay, so it'll be our last big swing. Now we want to kind of have like a follow through. So we're going to rotate just a little. And y'all forgive me, there's a lawnmower running outside during this time. Okay, I'm going to duplicate that and give it another tiny swing. Okay, and we want the weight of the gravity, right? So when it comes up, it's going to stop and then swing back again, right? So what I want to do is we're going to duplicate it, have it hold, duplicate it one more time. So I have 2 frames for the hold. So that'll be 8. The 9th frame, we're going to take it and we're going to swing it back down again. Now the cool part is with these see-throughs is you can just line it back up with the old swings. Okay, duplicate that one. I'm going to rotate it. Until we get it lined up right there. Okay, duplicate that one. Rotate that until we get it to a spot that we want. Duplicate it again. And we're going to rotate it back straight. Okay, and then we want it to swing to the other side. So I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to rotate it and get to that midpoint. Right about here. Okay, duplicate that one. We'll swing it out. Get us some space. Okay, duplicate. Rotate that out again. Really give it some separation. Bring it back just a little bit, about right there. Okay, I'm going to duplicate it again. Now we start getting into our follow through. Okay, duplicate one more time. Come back out. Okay, now we want our 2 keyframe holes, so I'm going to duplicate twice. Alright, and then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to swing it back down to the middle. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate one more time. I'm going to start swinging it. Okay, duplicate again. Swing it down. Duplicate again. Swing it towards this way. Duplicate again. Swing it down. Make sure everything's lined up. And we'll duplicate one more time and have it end back in the middle. Alright, so again, we want to stretch out our keyframe, just hit play. So you can see how gravity's taking the effect on it, right? And you just have it swinging back and forth. It's got a little bit of drag to it. it's just for a little animation swing in there. Okay. Now things that would have made it cooler is you could have had the strings be different, right? So I can reset this back, and as I come out, to about right here, we can have the line. I can erase it back. And have a little bit of a curve to it. Go to the next frame. And curve that out that way. Go to the next frame, and then it's going to hold. And then as that comes back down, you can clean up the line here. And again, have it coming back. Okay, it's not going to be pretty, but you'll get the idea. Next frame, start getting it straight. Come out. Come here. Start have it curve a little bit. Next one. We'll add even more drag to it. Like I said, it's not going to be pretty. That's not the point. Like I said, it's going to be like a 12-hour video. If you wanted me to get each of these animations absolutely perfect. Okay, we come to the hold. Hold, starting to come back down. Then we can come out this way. Having that whip back follow through. Do one more. Okay, so now we can go through. You see there's a little bit of a wiggle to it. It gives it more levity to the weight, right? And then we could just set it on that loop to start over at 24. So like if I stop this here, we can just set it on a loop. See how it just goes through? So you want to make sure if you want it to loop your animation, to loop it around. Okay. So like what I could do is we can knock back the frame to 25. And then allow it just to swing through back and forth just like that with a little bit of wobble to it. Anyway, it's just the point is you just got to get creative with it, okay? So that's a simple little basic animation. If you want to see more animation videos and you really like that kind of stuff for these Digital Wednesdays, like we can start getting into, animating more things like maybe characters, stuff like that. So let me know down in the comments. I hope you learned something. I hope you had fun. And until next time, remember to keep sketching, and I will see you in the next one, okay? Bye.